Oh, I think we've got one more just joining us. Or playing a bit of hokey cokey, in, out, in, out. I think what we'll do in the meantime is we will get started. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Friday afternoon lunch and learn. You hopefully won't be surprised to know what you are joining us for, which is a bit of a celebration or a showcase, really, part of the PPMA showcase series. And today we are showcasing the award entries for the public sector team of the year. So over the next 45 minutes or so, because this is a slightly extended session, typically these are half an hour, but this is a 45-minute session because we are hearing not from one, but from two of our wonderful award entrants. So we're going to be hearing, first of all, from colleagues from Stockport Metropolitan Borough Council, and then from the East of England Local Government Association. So I know that you're going to be really glued to your screens, but if I can just give you a bit of housekeeping. The first thing to say is that this session is being recorded, so we would love you to have your cameras on. But if you don't want to be shown on screen for whatever reason, then feel free to just flip your cameras off. I would ask if you can just to keep your microphones muted as you've done so far. That's fab. It just means that we're avoiding any excess noise filtering through. Because the session is being recorded, it will be circulated afterwards, so you will be able to see and recap on everything that's happening in the session. My name is Matt Ingram-Smith from Tripad. We're the sponsors of this category, and we're really pleased to be with you today, but thankfully you're not going to be hearing too much from me. What I will be doing now is passing over to Jenny and team from Stockport. But if I can ask you to just keep the chat open. If you have any questions as we're going through for either Jenny or for Alison from ILGA when we get to that point, drop them into the chat. I'll be collating those and we will run a Q&A at the end of those sessions together. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Jenny for you to introduce your team.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. Really great to be here. I'm Jenny Neal. I am the Head of HR and Organisational Development at Stockport Council. And I'm just going to let some of my wonderful colleagues from Team Stockport introduce themselves before we kick off. So I'm going to do alphabetical order and go with Andrea first.
Sorry, that took me by surprise then. I had to unmute. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Stewart. I'm Senior Service Manager in HR. I manage several teams in our HR service, covering recruitment, employee relations, which is both for council and schools, payroll and pensions, again, for council and schools. That's me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicola Gardner and I'm the HR Employee Relations Service Manager at Stockport, as well as being the business partner for Place and Children Directorates within Stockport. Thanks.
And even my understanding of the alphabet leads me to feel that I'm next up. So I'm Stephen Dawson. I'm Stockport Council's Senior Service Manager for Workforce and Organisational Development.
Thanks, colleagues, and it's really important to me that we brought part of our team with us today, so that you can see that this is an absolute team effort that culminated in us winning this award, which we were absolutely all thrilled about, plus all of our teams and our organisation. So it's just really wonderful to be here, and we're just going to talk to you a little bit about what we've been up to, really, and just give you a bit of an overview about what we've been delivering and the impact that has had in our organisation. So I'm going to kick off and talk to you about our people plan, and that underpins all of the work that we deliver. So we have 5 pillars on the left hand side there that talk to you about the really important focus that we've had in terms of really encouraging people to join our organisation, and letting them know that it's a brilliant place to work, and when they come and work with us, that we will support them to enable them to grow and to thrive and to have brilliant career opportunities and development opportunities, that they will absolutely be really supported in our organisation. They're going to meet brilliant colleagues, make some fantastic friends and have brilliant opportunities, but their well-being is absolutely paramount to us as an organisation, because if our colleagues feel well, they're going to work and give the best that they can. And we want people to feel that they absolutely belong, that they've got a voice, that it's heard, and that they feel included in everything that we do. And that as an organisation, that we're living and breathing our values in everything that we do. So our people plan was developed. We didn't have one before. It was developed really during the pandemic when things were really, really difficult for all of our workforces. Colleagues were struggling, dealing with lots of different challenging situations every day. And we carried out a number of pulse surveys from a wellbeing perspective, communication, equalities, just to really understand how the workforce was feeling, especially when everybody was working from home, working with really difficult situations. And we really recognised that everybody had lots of different experiences that they were dealing with. And we wanted to look at how we could support our workforce to keep them safe, keep them well, and absolutely demonstrate that our people are our most important part of our organisation. So we co-created our plan. We have a workforce steering group, which includes heads of service from right across the council. So from finance to social care, from planning to IT, to our team, a whole cross-representation of workforce voice. So that we could check and challenge. Are we saying, is what we're delivering fit in your area? Is there something that we need to think about differently for different directorates, different cultures? How can we work together as one team in everything that we do? And that workforce steering group helped us create the people plan, but it also navigated us through the pandemic and beyond in terms of hybrid working, so that we could really listen to different people's perspectives. Bit of high support, high challenge in that area, not always the easiest of spaces, but a real focus on relationships and working together. And I'm really pleased to say that our One Team People plan underpins our council plan. So it is firmly front and centre as part of our strategy, our vision, our mission. So our members, our elected members know about it, all of our corporate leadership team know about it, and we report into that corporate leadership team every single month on how the workforce is feeling, what work we're doing, what's important and why it's important. So we've absolutely earned our place at that table. And we work really closely with our networks, our unions, to really continue to shape this plan. And it will never finish. This is how we work with our people. This is how we're creating a really brilliant culture, how we are an employer of choice, and how we can really assure colleagues that if their experience doesn't match what we're saying and it doesn't do what it says on the tin, that they can hold us to account as well, to say, you're saying all this nice stuff, it's all shiny, but it doesn't fit with my experience. So this underpins all of our work. And I'm just going to hand over first of all to Andrea, who will start to tell you a little bit more about the work that we've been doing around recruitment.
Hi there. Yes, so obviously Jenny's just been talking about our Join Us pillar as part of what she was saying, and that's our recruitment. A lot of that is about our recruitment team. So like all other organisations in the UK, we face big recruitment challenges coming out of the pandemic. And as part of that, we decided to invest in our recruitment team and change our ways of working. That was really about investing to save as an organisation, because we felt it was really important to try and recruit quickly, reduce our time to hire, and to do that, we felt that we needed to really change how we did things, and key to that has been our use of social media. So our team received some training on making sure that we could get the best out of social media, and they've really grown to be really creative and posting daily on our social media accounts with posts and videos, and looking at ways to really boost the visibility of our posts on social media, and that's been hugely successful. As part of that, we do also work in partnership with our other Greater Manchester, part of our Greater Manchester collaboration, and that's an important part of what we do in recruitment as well. So we've also held recruitment fairs. So although in the past we have been part of recruitment fairs, we hadn't actually held our own. And we did that for the first time 2 years ago. We're actually holding our third recruitment fair in our beautiful ballroom in our town hall next week. And the purpose of that is really to promote ourselves as Jenny was saying, as an employer of choice in our local community. It also means that we've become a bit more human, and we're really aware that people don't understand the wide range of jobs that councils have, and bringing people in to us and being able to speak to them face to face really helps, particularly some job roles. And as part of that, we've been giving the opportunity for some of those job roles to have face-to-face interviews there and then. And it's resulted in some immediate hires, which has been really fabulous to see. especially in roles that we hadn't been able to recruit to. So that has been hugely successful. It also links into our flexible approach in recruitment, where as well as just having a standard application form to complete, we can adapt that process. So, like I said, we'll once a year recruitment fair, although it's useful and it's brilliant, we also do some much smaller recruitment fairs out in communities across Stockport, and they've been successful as well in being able to fill some of our harder to fill vacancies. Part of our recruitment sort of mantra has been that we want to make a good first impression at every interaction that we have with a candidate. So we've got a warm and friendly tone, we hope, to everything that we do, not only face-to-face, but in all of our paperwork or offers that we send out. We hope that that comes across what a great place to work we are. Alongside our general recruitment processes, we've also been supporting various schemes, internship programmes and supporting inclusion initiatives, which again have been really successful. We also launched our recruitment video. Anybody who on the call who was watching we had a more focused candidate experience session like this on Wednesday. We showed our recruitment video on that. So if anybody wants to go back and look at that, they'll see our recruitment video, which we were really proud of. We thought it went down really well across our whole organisation with existing employees as well. We also launched values-based recruitment. Again, Jenny was saying about how important our values are to our organisation, and we really need to make sure that all our new recruits are also committed to those values. Finally, as a sort of extra string to our bow, we started sponsoring. So by obtaining a sponsor licence, we can employ people for skilled roles who don't already have the right to work in the UK. So we're just regarding that as an extra string to our bow, as I said. So benefits package. So obviously that's really important as part of our overall recruitment, but we also want our existing employees to completely benefit from us having a really good support package and benefits package, which is aimed at both all their physical, financial and mental well-being. And really important part of that is our work-life balance approach. It all, we hope, helps to keep our good retention rates across our organisation. So wide-ranging package of benefits which provide online discounts and practical support for health and well-being. We've got a wide range of salary sacrifice schemes. Lots of councils, I think, have home electronics and cycle to work schemes. We also have a car lease scheme and lots of high street discounts, gym discounts. We also hold events to highlight and promote our benefits package. We've called these mind, body and bank account events, so with an aim to be fun and informative. So actually those events, when people come, they're really quite buzzing with this range of activities happening all at the same time. So all of that big benefits package we think we've got, including a 24/7 helpline. It's all at either little or no cost to the council, and we're quite proud of being able to offer that to all our candidates and employees. So of course, it's all very well, everything I've said, hopefully it sounds good, but we do need to also deliver our core services brilliantly, and we recognise that the team that do that are often sort of unsung heroes, and we really try to make sure that they do get that acknowledgement, because we do think that they're great at what they do. And so that's our payroll, which is both the sort of the technical payroll as well as the teams that do all the input for starters, leavers, changes. We believe that we're very efficient at what we do. And in order to get it right first time and be efficient, we've introduced a whole range of online forms, which make it really easy for our managers across the organisation and employees to contact us with the right information at the right time, so that we don't have to keep going back to clarify things. We've made sure it's really simple. And our managers, when they interact with us and want to make requests for various, I don't know whether it's to put in a job advert or to any, I can't just think of any other queries, but we've got all these online forms that mean that it's really, really easy and simple, but it also lands the information within our team in an easy way and ready for us to implement and process. So all of that has really hugely improved our service over the last few years. Also, what we've done as part of our One Team People plan is introduce business partnering. I'm going to hand over to Nicola to talk more about that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. So yes, as discussed, as I mentioned, I'm the Employee Relations Manager at Stockport, but also HR Business Partner for two areas of the Council, the Children's Directorate and the Place Directorate. So as Jenny said, the One Team People plan for Stockport outlines a strategic approach to the workforce, and then the work of the HR team then comes from that. So it's about making sure we keep people at the heart of what we do. So the work my team and I do is about delivering strong core services, and much of the work falls under the feeling supported pillar of the One Team People plan, in terms of trying to make sure everyone feels supported and valued. So the HR business partner model was established a couple of years ago to make sure that as HR professionals, we're at the heart of the business, and we've really strengthened our approach to that over the last 2 years. One of the main ways in which we did this was to start attending the senior management teams within the directorate teams that we were the business partner for, making sure that we developed and maintain those strong relationships with the senior management teams so that we can help support them in addressing any issues in their area and try and come up with some solutions. So we attend the directorate management teams on a quarterly basis, and one of the main purposes is to present workforce data. And that can include sickness data, so number of sickness days per FTE, looking at the main reasons for sickness. We break it down into whether that's short or long-term sickness, and highlighting the teams where there may be higher levels of sickness, and obviously the cost as well of sickness. We also look at turnover rates, and we share information gathered from exit interviews and an online exit questionnaire for leavers. And generally, we try to highlight issues as they arise. So we develop bespoke action plans with those managers to address any issues in those areas. And just to give you an example of that, within one directorate, sickness levels were quite high. So we looked at sickness across the teams to try and identify where the issues were. And my team worked closely with those managers to try and coach and support them to manage sickness, making sure they were holding return to work interviews, making sure we were offering as much support as possible to help colleagues return to work, exploring adjustments that could be made, and really just trying to address any concerns that they may have. The responsibility for delivering the sickness training also moved into my team, and we reviewed and updated that based on some of the issues that we encountered when working with managers. So it now includes lots of common scenarios that managers might struggle with. So we really tried to make it as practical as possible, a training course. The training itself was made mandatory for managers, and we set up dashboards so that their managers could see who's attended the training and make sure that anyone that had missed it did have that training. So to give an example of how that's had an impact, at one point, sickness in the directorate had peaked at an average of 12.58 days lost due to sickness, and it's currently 8.31 days lost to sickness per FTE. So definitely moving in the right direction. We took a similar approach in adult social care, where there were similar issues around sickness. So we did a lot of the similar work, as well as sickness clinics and drop-ins for managers. And again, in February 23, the sickness levels there were about 17.57 days lost due to sickness per FTE. And that's now decreased to 15.55 days. So obviously this is ongoing work, but definitely moving in the right direction. Some other targeted work we've done has been looking at recruitment and retention issues within children's, particularly around social workers and their managers. And we've done work with the management teams, looking at the pay levels, doing a lot of benchmarking, and that has led us to introduce market supplements to those roles. It's currently a bigger piece of work going on, looking at a longer term solution, but that's definitely helped to address some issues. So within the employee relations teams, the senior advisors who deal with employee relations cases, TUPEs, service redesigns, and so on, they're also loosely aligned to a particular directorate, which really helps the team develop close working relationships with the managers. So I think, just to summarize, really, the issues are identified through HR business partners or through our teams working closely with the managers, but almost always the subsequent work is really a collective HR effort. So pulling in lots of our colleagues from other teams within HR. And as Jenny said, the heart of what we do is to deliver the people plan and ultimately help managers to improve their service delivery. Thank you.
Okay, so it's over to me. We've got about a minute or so left, so to wrap up our presentation. So we've got, as well as all the HR measures that have been outlined as we've gone through, we have done a lot in the OD work, and I won't read through what you can see on the screen there, but lots of initiatives to try and help our colleagues grow into their roles, develop throughout their career with the council, and to celebrate their successes as we do it. So whether that's be introducing placement schemes, you can see some of the wellbeing support, and our new awards scheme where we recognise colleagues who've been displaying our values and going, playing their role in delivering the services that we do. We have introduced that range of OD measures and a big leadership campaign as well. And that's all been based around, complemented by a real focus on inclusion. So, our people plan has inclusion embedded through it, with a strong group of employee networks and support groups. And as it says on the slide there, we do a lot of proactive communication and engagement, and actually delivering a really big program at the moment of training for all colleagues on equality, diversity and inclusion. And I'll leave this slide up just to finish with, which is around measuring the impact. So we're really keen throughout all the work that we do to keep an eye on impact, to check that what we're doing is achieving what it sets out to be, and delivering for the workforce, but also the residents of Stockport as well. So thank you for your time, and I'll hand back over to Matt.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, team. It's easy to see, I think, just even listening to you for 15 minutes or so, why you have won. If we talk about celebrating the successes of the team, or wanting people to do well, using data to enforce case studies, or just a couple of things that I picked out from there. Jenny, you talked about right at the beginning how we earn our place at the table. All of that I think will resonate really strongly with everyone on this call and everyone watching back. And Andrea, if you have any doubts about whether or not there's a warm and friendly tone, if you're approaching your colleagues and your candidates like you are with this call, then I can say it's a resounding yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. That could easily be a 1-hour session, and we'd still have plenty to go to. Well, I'd love to hand over now to Alison, who's had all sorts of struggles trying to get into the system, but I'm really pleased that I can see you. I hope we're going to be able to hear you, and I presume you've got some slides to share as well, Alison. So over to you, and we'll continue seeing some questions in the chat, which, if we get time at the end of the session, we'll put to the panel.
Brilliant. Thank you, Matt. And can I just apologise to everybody on the call for having such great difficulty getting in. Our IT department doesn't support Zoom, so we're on our own with it. So I was caught in this loop of not being able to get in and then finally did. So probably the wrong day to do a Zoom presentation, being Friday the 13th. Right, I'm going to share my slides now. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that will work perfectly. Can I just check that everyone can see that?
Yep, we can see
Even
you.
earlier disasters. Okay, brilliant. So I'm here today representing the East of England Local Government Association. We are not a council, but we still applied for the PPMA awards. We're actually a regional employers organisation where the councils in our region, which is obviously the East of England, they pay their subscriptions every year and we support them as an organisation. And they fund our existence, really. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our councils. So good news that they do pay their subs. We cover 6 county areas in our region, so we're quite a large region of the United Kingdom. We cover Beds, Cambs, Herts, Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex. And we decided to put in for the PPMA award of the Public Sector HR Team of the Year, just really to showcase some of the work that we've done in our region, and obviously didn't expect to do as well as we have done. So we are a small team. There's 5 of us. So that's me on the left, and then going on from me, we've got Anne, Carly, Emma, and Julie. That's 5 of us looking after 50 councils in the East of England. So a big remit that we have, and we'll go into that in a moment. So as I've said, we're a small team. We've now got 5. So Carly did go on maternity leave and has just returned. Her maternity cover, Anne, has stayed on because Carly's reduced her hours. So all of the team, apart from myself, are part-time, but we do cover the entire week. So there's always somebody on the end of an email or the end of a phone for our 50 councils, which is great. We do mostly remote working. So actually we don't go into the office a great deal. We go in mainly for meetings, but we do have some face-to-face interaction with our councils, which is really good. So our remit, so we support 50 councils in all things that are around HR and OD. So that's a total council staffing numbers. And this is from some probably data from about 18 months ago of almost 120,000 council staff across the 6 counties, which is a lot. Obviously, we don't interact with all of the staff. We mainly go in with the heads of HR or chief executives. So we've got a help desk that we run. So that's normally an email service where people come in with their queries and we go back to them via email. Sometimes if it's a little bit more complex, they'll ask for a call. We have events and we run webinars. We have regular meetings. So some of those meetings are for our heads of HR in the region. So 50 heads of HR approximately will attend those calls. We've also got a super users group that we run because we have a regional data system. A little bit more on that in a moment. So we run that super users group to make sure our super users are comfortable in uploading their data. And if they've got any queries on the data, they can then use that meeting to seek the support that they need. We also represent our region at national events. So things like the National Association of Regional Employers. So that's where all of us from across the country, including from your region, get together. And we have discussions around issues and challenges in HR for councils across the whole of the UK. We also host conferences on HR and OD topics. We had one just last week at Newmarket Racecourse, and that was around the new national recruitment campaign that's being led by the national LGA, obviously based in London. We tackle some tricky and sensitive questions and issues for our councils. So things like advising on people exiting the council or restructures of whole teams and departments in councils. We will do that on a confidential basis and just give that safety net to our heads of HR or directors of HR in the region if they've got anything tricky and they want some confidential advice. We also lead, and this is Emma in the team who does this work predominantly, on all early careers work across our region again. We facilitate events, meetings, and also collaborative working, and that's with the private sector as well as with councils and other networking meetings that we get involved in. So we're promoting early careers and trying to get young people into local government, because obviously that will help to solve where you've got hard to fill posts or particular areas that you find difficult to recruit into. So what we put in for our PPMA award under the impact section, we put some things that we're particularly proud of as a team. So we launched a data benchmarking tool in June 2022. At first, only a handful of our councils joined. They have to pay because we have to pay the private sector company that own the system. And now I'm pleased to say that we're heading to almost 30 of our councils being part of that data collection system. And as you know, data is key. It's really good for our councils to have data across the region. So that's one thing that we're particularly proud of. We're also proud of our Apprentice of the Year event, which is run annually and in collaboration with South West councils, our counterparts obviously in the South West, and the National Local Government Association. Again, Emma is the lead on that. Early years, we're very proud of. We promote apprenticeships, T-levels, and also looking at local government as a career choice and showing young people the number of roles available in councils, because there's a vast number, and a lot of young people are not aware of that. They're aware of council tax and bin collection and pretty much not a lot else. So it's pretty good for raising that profile for local government. We also have apprenticeship networks, and we collaborate with our councils in the different county areas so that we can maximise the levy spend in our region. We also have great communication with the region. We've got a publication, again, led by Emma. Emma is the guru on the team on this one. Every quarter, we put this publication out to showcase the work of the region, not what we're doing as employer services, but what councils are doing in our area. We send this out widely to heads of HR, directors of HR, chief execs. We also send it out to councillors, leaders and mayors and to other regions of England so they can see what we're up to and what we're doing. And then if there's any chance of any collaborative work, we can jump in and link in on that. We also do engagement with our heads of HR. We have a meeting every month, mainly via Microsoft Teams, but obviously the September one was a face-to-face one, which followed on from the national recruitment event at Newmarket and was last week. Very well received, and it was great to see people in person. Innovation, we've been looking at untapped talent pools across the east of England. So things like ex-forces, care leavers, etc. There's the list on the slide there. We've been looking at all of those with different action plans and how they feed into different areas of our work. And we're going to be continuing to do that because that will help our councils to fill some of their vacancies that they might have had for a while. We've introduced and put guidance out about a reasonable adjustment passport for the region, which gives, once reasonable adjustments are agreed with an employee, they are then put onto a passport document. So if that employee moves around within the council, they can take the reasonable adjustment with them to save having to go through the long-winded process of getting that adjustment agreed again. The same if their manager changes and a new one comes into the organisation. Happy to share that with anybody who would like to see an example of that. More than happy to share after the call. We've also been looking at grow your own staff and an academy approach. So one of our councils, one of our large unitaries did this for planning, and they cut their agency spend from probably over £1 million to 0 with the academy approach. And they now fill all of their roles through the academy with apprentices coming through. They have had to invest money to get there, but the investment has really paid off. Again, I'm happy to share any further information on that people would like. And we're working on some guidance and support for our councils on challenges facing councils. As we know, funding is a massive issue at the moment, as well as recruitment. And we're also looking at new legislation coming in with the new government around the Make Work Pay document. So we're going to be providing some guidance for our councils. We seek regular feedback to make sure that we're making the right impact and that we're doing the right things. So we get regular emails from our councils, some saying, we don't like what you're doing there, or this is fantastic, can you do more of it? So we take on board all of that feedback. We send out regular MS Forms surveys to make sure we're getting it right, because they're paying for our service. So we want to make sure they're getting value for money. We take feedback following any key meetings or events that we put on, and we also get testimonials. If we've supported a council and made a real difference, then we ask for a testimonial from the chief exec, and then we use those to show that we've made a real difference in the region. And our key objectives for each of the team that you've seen, all of 5 of us, are really linked into the corporate objectives of the organisation as a whole, where we support councils on a whole wide range of things, not just HR and OD. We do advocacy with central government and a whole host of other things. So we do make sure that we're linked in there. I'm not going to read this out, but this is just one of our testimonials that came from one of our heads of HR after we supported them quite well on a project that they were doing, and just some general feedback in here about our team as a whole. And now I've mentioned HR Dispatches, which is our fantastic publication, which comes out each quarter. So I've put there a link for the April and July ones. We're currently working on the October edition. So we're collating all of the information now. These are a really good read. They're on an electronic document called Page Tiger, and they're really easy just to flick through if you've got some time and are curious to see what we've been doing. Not what my team have been doing, but what we've been doing in the region under the HR banner and wider. And I'll stop there.
That's fab. Thank you so much for sharing, Alison. And just before I respond to any of that, would you be able to share those links once you've managed to unshare your screen? Would you be able to share those links in the chat so that people could click onto that? I think, Stephen, you'd shared the people plan from Stockport earlier. So, Alison, if you were able to do the same in the chat, that would be really useful. We can also send these out post this webinar as well. But that was really great, to hear. We all know about the great work that our regional employers associations do, don't we? But to hear about taking a collaborative approach and considering the commercial alongside, I think my eyes opened and my jaw dropped when you said about the council who'd saved £1 million in agency fees through the Grow Your Own Academy. We could have a whole session on that, I'm sure. So thank you so much, Alison, for sharing that. That was fantastic. We do have time for a couple of questions. We've got 5 minutes or so, and we do have one question in the chat from Fiona, which I think came through on the back of the session from the team at Stockport. Jenny and team, I'll leave it up to you to decide who wants to answer the question, which is, how do you recognise staff who demonstrate those values?
We've been playing rock, paper, scissors in the background to agree who'd pick this up, and apparently I lost. So a really good question, Fiona, and something that we've worked on. By coincidence, I happen to have a couple of slides, which is something we've presented. And so this is going to seem very overly prepared. It's not, it's just fluke. So let me share them. Because one of the things that came up in an all-colleagues survey that we did a couple of years ago was around people feeling valued for the work that they do in general, and particularly in terms of, as you say there, the links to the values. So over the last couple of years, we have introduced a few different things that pick that up. So not so much related to values, but a sort of show of our acknowledge the commitment of some of our colleagues. Is we have introduced and we are further introducing some new measures to reward long service. So, I'm sure some of you will have long service schemes. We've certainly had our fair share of slightly strange ones in the past, in terms of gifts that you get at certain milestones and things like that. But we are looking at revising that with a lot of softer stuff. So a lot of things that that thank colleagues for that. So the picture at the bottom right there is colleagues who had worked for the council for 40 years. So they get a little gift box. They have a little meeting with the chief exec and deputy chief exec where that gets handed over. The gift box is not massively expensive, but some local products and some local artists have produced some material for us. So nice little touches like that. We were conscious from the survey that there's a lot of stuff around managers rewarding. I said good behaviour then, I didn't mean that, but managers rewarding behaviour in line with the values. So one of the things we did, we've just refreshed our PDR approach and introduced something called My Conversation, which has a lot of links back to values in terms of reviewing work you've done over the last year and giving a sort of easy link in there so that people can link what they're doing and what their objectives are for the next year back to the values. And then one of the biggest things we've done in the last couple of years is introduced an internal staff awards ceremony. So it's something that we haven't done for a long time. Obviously with an eye to budget and not having one effectively and making the most of what we've got available. We've used we have a really, as Andrea alluded to early on, we've got a really nice ballroom as part of the old town hall building that we have. And so we ran an internal scheme. I've got some pictures of the winners happen to be there. A selection of different categories, and then it looks very fancy on here. We've made it the best we can, but as I say, we're spending as little as we possibly could, and we've had some really positive feedback. But the key thing about the Ambitious Stockport Awards is that the majority of those categories are explicitly linked to one of our values. So the showing everyone respect, working with ambition, thinking Stockport, achieving as a team, they are our 4 core values. But then we have fair and inclusive working, climate response, and working in partnership are in the council plan. So it all links back to that first slide that Jenny showed with our corporate priorities and our values as well. And if you want any more information about any of that, I'm more than happy to pass it on.
That's brilliant. Thanks for sharing that, Stephen. I think the phrase that we did the best we could with what we had probably resonates with a lot of authorities. So that's fine. Well, that takes us right up to our mark for today's session. So I know you want to join me in thanking the team from Stockport and from the East of England Local Government Association, not just for their preparation for today's session, but for all of the work that they've done that's led to winning and being highly commended for this award. This is one of many sessions that's being run by the PPMA. So do keep an eye on the newsletters and the announcements and LinkedIn posts and all of those sorts of things for the next session. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for coming and joining. For those who are watching in the future, thank you. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again, everybody.